this young lady, and I can say young lady because at this point in my life everybody's younger than me, the newly elected mayor of this great city, Mayor LaToya Cantrell.
Good afternoon. This is really a wonderful day in the city of New Orleans. We are now back open for boxing in the heart of our city. And Regis, man, you have made this possible. Thank you. And thank you so much for focusing on champions, because you know they are rooted in the city of New Orleans. And they're right here, behind me right now, behind us. And the last time we were together, I think we were picking up trash in St. Roch, because our heart is rooted in community. And I want to say, man, we are truly on the move in the city. Last week, we announced the Super Bowl coming back to New Orleans in 2024. But to stand here today to announce the Prograis fight right here in the city, this is where it is. And the time truly is now. The city of New Orleans is committed every step of the way. And a testament to that is having our council president, Mr. Jason Williams, who is here with us. Cindy Wynn, I believe she was here, the councilwoman from District E. We know you were born and raised in New Orleans East, graduate of 35. The storm took you to Houston, like it did me, but we got on back home because our boots had to be on the ground. Amen. So thank you so much. We're committed to you, to your success, and we know that you're going to bring it on home. All right, thank you, ESPN, and thank you truly for this partnership. The way is in our front, boxing back in the city of New Orleans.
One of the greatest cities in the world, and a city that has an incredibly storied history when it comes to boxing, though it may not seem that way recently. But for example, Muhammad Ali fought in this town against Leon Spinks in their rematch. One of the greatest fights in the history of boxing, going back over 100 years, occurred here when John L. Sullivan fought Corbett for the heavyweight title. There hasn't been a born and raised New Orleans fighter fighting for a world championship in this great city in over half a century. Wow. And Regis Prograis is about to make history. The last guy that did that was a guy named Willie Pastrana a long time ago. I'm thrilled to see so many local dignitaries here. I know there are council people here and judges here. Regis's mom and dad, there are friends here, and I'm really happy to see all you guys behind me here, because you're why Regis wanted to fight in New Orleans so badly. He believes in this city. This city made Regis Prograis. He was displaced, like so many other people, by the tragedy of Katrina, but it didn't keep him down. It gave him the motivation to be a champion. The way it gave the city the motivation to build itself up into something greater than it even was before. So we're thrilled to be here today. The Regis Prograis Juan Jose Velasco fight will be at the Lakefront Arena at UNO on Saturday night, July 14th. It'll air on ESPN and ESPN Deportes, so it'll be all over the country and all over the world. The undercard will start at 3:30 p.m. and it'll be streamed on ESPN Plus, and then ESPN will go on national TV at 6 p.m. here, and Regis's fight will start at approximately 7 p.m. There were a couple of things that Regis said to me when I signed him a number of years ago, and one of them was, and if you know Regis, you know he's got an ego, and he knows how good he is, and he said, I'm going to be a world champion. I'm going to unify all of the belts, and I'm going to fight in New Orleans, and I'm going to make New Orleans a boxing town once again. So July 14th, he's already a champion. Yes. And he's kept his word. And he's got the WBC diamond belt at 140 pounds. And God willing, when he wins this fight on July 14th, he's going to enter a tournament that's going to allow him to accumulate a bunch of those belts and be one of the biggest superstars in all of boxing. And by the way, after July 14th, we intend for one of those other fights to take place right back here in New Orleans. He's tied very much to the city. He wears it on his chest, literally. New Orleans is tattooed on Regis. He believes in the youth of the city. I mean, I've been paying attention because it's not something I've been doing as the promoter. It's something he's been doing as a son of the city, going around to schools and speaking to kids, trying to motivate people, to let them know everything is possible. And Regis Prograis knows anything is possible. I mean, he wound up going to Houston and getting caught in another hurricane. And if you can make it through Katrina, and then you could get through that other hurricane, there's no man alive that scares you. He's not afraid of anything. And he wants this to be a greater city. He wants to be part of the continued growth of New Orleans. It's my great honor and pleasure to introduce the Rougarou, the WBC 140-pound champion, Regis Prograis.
First off, I want to thank everybody for being here. Y'all really show love. Just like they saying, the mayor, Lou DeBella, I love New Orleans. Everybody already know that's all over. If you never see me fight, got a big tattoo, like stretch all around. He's there right there. The whole city on. Like I said, I just want to thank everybody for being here. I feel like, I've been saying, like DeBella been saying, and Les Banano said a long time ago, I say I'm gonna be the man to bring the big time boxing back to New Orleans. And now it's the chance I'm gonna do it. It's a lot of people really don't know the history about. I'm a boxing historian, so a lot, like Lou said. What's his name? Now I'm talking about the first heavyweight championship fight. Sullivan and Corbett was in New Orleans. That's the first heavyweight championship fight ever. That was in the 1892 or something like that. And then on record they have the longest fight ever was 110 rounds. 110 rounds. Now we do 12 rounds. So think about that. They had men do 110 rounds, and it was right here in New Orleans. Boxing was real. It was extremely huge back in those days. I don't know now. It's more in Vegas and it's more in New York, but I'm going to be the man. I'm telling everybody, I'm going to be the person to bring boxing back to New Orleans. Big time boxing is coming back to New Orleans. That's my mom. She wants to be known. Right, that's my mom. So yeah, anyway, like I said, I'm gonna bring it back to New Orleans. New Orleans is like, if I was in LA and I was doing some stuff in Petersburg, and he said every time I say New Orleans, say a word. New Orleans, say a word. And one of the main things every time I hear New Orleans is I think of its culture, the people and the culture. And we have such a strong culture in New Orleans, and our fans are so loyal. Like the Saints can lose every game, we still gonna be in the Superdome every weekend. Man, the Saints gonna win the Super Bowl, Saints gonna win the Super Bowl, you know what I mean? So that's why I want to be the same thing, with the boxing. We're gonna, like I said, we're gonna bring it back. And as far as these dudes behind me, all these dudes, if y'all don't know, most of them are they champions in their own right. And how many of y'all been to a fight? Been to a boxing match? So none of them been to a boxing match before. But I'm gonna tell them, I got all of them. All of them come with me. I got tickets for every last one of them. That's just one thing. And one of the main things I want to do is just inspire the kids. Me coming up, I didn't have the inspiration in boxing. I had to move to Houston, to get a lot of inspiration. When I moved to Houston, I was at Savannah's Boxing Club, and I was around a lot of champions. And one of the biggest champions I was around was Evander Holyfield. I'm like, 20 years old, and 20 years old is still a little kid, especially in boxing. And I'm right here hitting the bag, and Holyfield is next to me hitting the bag. And so, like, that just does something to your brain to where, like, I can do it. I can do the same thing as him. Like, he's a human just like I am, we know different, and I want to do the same thing for, you know, these kids. You know, a lot of people, boxing is not big in New Orleans because they don't see it, you know, and that's why I want to be the person they see it. You know, they see, like, you know, they got a champion from New Orleans, and big time boxing can come back to New Orleans. So like I said, we're gonna bring it back. Right now it's Vegas and New York, but guess what? In the next few years, I'm gonna change it. I'm telling you, I'm gonna change it, and it's gonna definitely boost up the economy, and everybody in the world will come back to New Orleans. Ali fought here, Duran fought here, Sugar Ray Leonard fought here, and like I said earlier, in the 1800s, boxing originated. It originated here, you know. So I'm gonna bring it back. I like to thank everybody for coming, and one of the main things you can do if y'all want big time boxing back in New Orleans, come to the fight. That's all you gotta do. Come to the fight. Thank you.